Welcome back to my channel. It's your favorite homegirl Ashley, and I am back with another video. Today's video is going to be another episode of the Box of Books series. If you're new here and you're not sure what that means, it's simply a series that I created where I read books and do reviews on them. So the book that I just finished reading is called The 9 Laws of Success. This book is by Stormy Wellington. Okay, so yeah. I'm excited. This was a really good read. For my oldies, but my goodies, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to leave this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it today. Let's hop right into this video because I am super excited. Okay, so this book is based on the 9 laws of success. But before you can get to the 9 laws, there are 7 pillars. So she begins this book with an intro, and from the very beginning, as you can see, I have it highlighted. From the very beginning, the book spoke to me. I'm talking about from the first page to the last page. This book spoke to me. Like, this woman is just so wise, and I personally connect with her so much. A lot of people over the internet really give her a lot of shit. She doesn't get enough credit, I don't think, and reading this book, it just connected so much for me. So yeah, let's get into it. So I'm gonna read the first page to you guys. Okay, so it says, one of the most common questions I'm asked is, Stormy, what is the secret to your success? I always find that to be an interesting question because I've lived my life like an open book. Anything I know, anything I learn, I always want to share. However, the curious part of that question to me is putting secret and success in the same sentence. I believe there are no secrets to success because success always leaves clues. That is important enough for me to repeat. Success leaves clues. People who are successful often share the same testimonies and advice about how they achieve their success. They share their experience on the importance of discipline, time management, visualization, and commitment to their goals. Those are a few clues to success, right? So I'm pretty sure that if you want to be successful, you've heard that saying before, that success does leaves clues, and that is very much so true. I read these books and I started this series because I know for a fact that success leaves clues. So why not pick up the books of these successful people? Why not read their testimonies and read their clues? These books that are being written by these people who have made it, by these successful people, these are clues to success. So why not pick up these books and read? So the book starts off with that as an introduction. Like I said, there are 9 laws of success in this book, and there are 7 pillars. The way that Coach explains it is, and I'm going to call her Coach, the way that she explains it is there are 7 pillars before you can get to the 9 laws, okay? And you need to understand those 7 pillars before you can truly embrace the 9 laws of success. So the first chapter of this book is the 7 pillars. I'm going to read a few sentences from the very first chapter. So it begins, life, love, health, wealth, abundance. As humans, we all crave accomplishment. Everyone wants to be successful, yet as a percentage of the population, only a few achieve this desire. What is the difference between those who do and those who don't? It's simply just like in every part of life. There are principles that must be followed. There are laws you must obey to succeed. Unless you win the lottery, there are steps that must be taken to achieve your goals. Even those lottery winners have to align themselves with the laws, because we've all read stories about how 2 years later, those lottery winners are broke. Many inspirational and motivational speakers and gurus would say that what you need to achieve success is belief, and that is true. You need belief, faith, and goals, and I will talk about all of those things in this book. However, what you need to achieve the ultimate success is happiness, your happiness. And to stay in that place, you must have an understanding of the laws of the land. These principles are key to securing your success. Okay, so in the first chapter, she speaks about how the 7 pillars are the foundation of the 9 laws. And she also speaks about how you have to find happiness within yourself. That is your foundation. That is the core of it all. You have to be happy. You have to find what makes you happy. And everything else will work itself out. She talks about removing those limiting beliefs. And I don't know if you guys have watched my previous videos from the Box of Books series, but it seems like there's a trend, there's a pattern when it comes to the way successful people think. And it's that they don't have fear. They don't fear. They have faith. Okay? So it's about removing those limiting beliefs, moving those barriers from your mind that stop you from being happy, that stop you from wanting more, that are blocking you from your success. Okay? She talks about getting in alignment and how you have to surround yourself with the right people, because that ultimately does affect your happiness. So she talks about finding happiness in every aspect of your life from the inside out. Okay? The first pillar is be aware of who you are. Okay? The first pillar to building a strong foundation is the greatest lesson that I learned from my setback in 2011. I wasn't aware. I wasn't living consciously. I wasn't aware that I was depressed and allowing life to slip away and pass me by. And what I know is that there are a lot of people out there just like who I was back in 2011. There are lots of people who aren't aware of who they are. There are people walking around not knowing they're depressed and dysfunctional, and it's time for them to do something about it. So if you have your pen and paper, go ahead. And I'll also leave the link to this book down below in the description so that you can go and grab your copy. But if you have a pen and paper, the first pillar is be aware of who you are. That means finding yourself. Who are you? And I don't know, if you watch my previous video, then you guys know that there was something that stood out to me about keeping it real with yourself. So you have to be real with yourself. And that means confronting some of those deep, yucky, disgusting parts of yourself that need fixing. That means being honest with yourself. Are you depressed? Are there some things taking place in your life that's causing you to be dysfunctional? Are you entertaining dysfunctional shit? So being aware of who you are is ultimately how you're going to get in alignment with the blessings that are for you. Because if you're dysfunctional, if you're consumed by depression, if you're in this state of lack, how are you going to be able to get in alignment to receive all the great things that are for you? So pillar number 1 is be aware of who you are. And I hope that you understand why it's so important to be aware of who you are. Because in order to attract anything good, in order to attract anything great, you have to be prepared for that. And that means being real with yourself and getting in alignment from the inside out. So she goes on to say, it is so important for you to take a self-inventory daily. How are you feeling? What's in your mind? Is there anything you need to shift? Is it time for you to make a change? Are you tired? Do you need a break? A break to just be? Are you lonely while you're surrounded by people? Are you at peace with your life? And here's the key question. Are you happy? Period. Okay? And there's a quote here that says, success isn't just about what you accomplish in your life. It's about what you inspire others to do. And I live by this, you know. I live by that saying because it truly does make you feel good. It makes me feel good when I'm able to be of service and add value to the lives of others. When people come to me seeking advice or seeking guidance on something, it really does, I feel honored to even be able to be of service and serve other people. So, and the only way that I'm able to do that is because I want to be successful. So I take the time out to do the self-work so that I can be one of those people who I'm a server, because I understand the universe. I understand how this thing works. And in order for you to be on the receiving end, you have to be willing to give. Period. If you want to be a receiver, if you want to receive great things, if you want to receive blessings, if you want to receive your blessings, you have to be somebody who's willing to serve. Period. Right? And ultimately, the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you have a clear mind and a clear heart. And that's why she talks about taking a self-inventory. Checking yourself, keeping it real with yourself. Even if you got to write these things down, how are you feeling? Are you happy? You know, and that's ultimately all that matters, your happiness. At the core, at the root of it all, if you're not happy, nothing is going to flourish. So make sure that you're happy so that you can get in alignment and begin to receive all of the great things that are for you. So let me move on to the pillar. So the third pillar is be transformed. And I'm going to read a little bit from the first page here. So it begins, Romans 12:2 tells us, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God and what is good, acceptable, and perfect. The scripture says that what has to happen first is that we must be transformed. We must first be transformed by the renewing of our minds. When that happens first, all else will follow. What does transforming your mind mean? Well, the word transform means to change completely. So what we're talking about is changing your mind completely. When you change your mind, you will change your thoughts. And once you change your thoughts, you will change your actions. And that will impact your results. And ultimately, you will change your life. Without transforming your mind, you will not change your life. It begins with your mind first, because everything begins with your thoughts. Okay? The Bible and every motivational book tells you that. So like I said from the beginning, you have to get in alignment. You have to find your why. You have to figure out what your driving factor is. What is the thing that gets you up every morning? But first it starts with self-inventory. First it starts with keeping it real with yourself and dealing with those dark, deep places, dealing with the inner child in you so you can begin to transform. And I'm able to talk about this because I'm going through it and I'm experiencing these things. And, you know, like I told you guys in my previous Box of Book series, I've had to deal with all of my greatest life lessons I've learned on my own, you know. So to sit here at 25 years old. I'll be 26 this year. And daily, I am making a conscious decision to try to learn myself more. Try to do life right. Trying it's a daily thing. This is not something that you're just going to wake up one day and be transformed. Like, no. This is something that's routine. This is something that you have to work on a daily basis. And not every day is going to be perfect. Not every day is going to be, you're not a robot. Every day is not going to be boom, bang, bang. No. But the fact is, you're beginning to transform your mind. You're rewiring your thought processing. You're thinking about things differently. You're dealing with people differently. You're beginning to visualize greater for yourself, and therefore you're holding yourself to a higher standard because you've evaluated what needs to change. So now you can begin to transform because you've done your self-inventory. You know what parts of you need to transform. And that is where the beautiful part takes place. You begin to become. As long as you maintain a growth mindset and you continue to put one foot in front of the other, everything is going to be okay. And that's what this book tells me. That's what this particular pillar tells me. Be transformed. As long as you have a growth mindset, as long as you're willing to take accountability for your actions and for your mental, spiritual, and emotional growth and well-being, you will be okay. And like I said, this is not a boom, bang, bang kind of thing. This is something that you will have to work on a daily basis. But as long as you've done your self-inventory and you know what you need to work on, you can begin to improve. So she says, this is an everyday project because our minds have to be renewed daily. I've made it a habit to give myself 30 minutes to an hour of some type of personal development. Personal development is whatever you make of it. What do you want to do on a daily basis? Set a goal for yourself, Maybe you want to drink more water. Maybe you want to journal. Maybe you want to work out. What are you going to do on a daily basis to get you closer to who you want to be and where you want to be? Okay? So the third pillar is one of my current favorites because this is something I'm working on this year. And that is celebrating small successes. Okay? And I'm just going to read a little bit from this chapter. So it says, when we were young, we were proud of everything. We were proud when we learned how to write our names. We were proud when we learned how to ride a bike. We were proud when we got good grades at school. We were young and we accomplished something and we wanted the world to know about it. And we wanted to celebrate. Then we grew up and something happened. Then we grew up and something happened. We no longer acknowledge our accomplishments and success. It's like we've forgotten to recognize those things that should make us proud. And this is so true. As I started to get older, I never congratulated myself. I've accomplished some amazing things I never thought I would accomplish. And, they may not be the typical accomplishments that somebody would say, oh, you're successful. But I've accomplished some things that make me feel like I'm pretty successful. But the bad thing is I do not congratulate myself on my successes. So those small wins, they go unnoticed. And sometimes subconsciously, when you don't celebrate those wins, subconsciously, you start to tell yourself that those things are insignificant. And that is not true. Everything, every accomplishment, every hurdle, every barrier that you're able to jump across, clap for yourself. You know, one thing I learned at a very, very young age is that don't expect people to pat you on your back. Don't expect people to congratulate you. Like, you seriously have to be happy for yourself. You have to root for yourself. You have to be your own cheerleader. So whether your wins are big or small, they are still wins, and they still deserve to be noticed. You still deserve to be recognized. Period. Okay? So the third pillar is celebrate the small successes. Okay? Okay, so the fourth pillar is appreciation versus expectation. And I personally love this particular pillar because it takes you out of that victim mindset. If you're the kind of person who, it's okay. This is a part of being honest with yourself. If you are someone who likes to, you know, point the finger and blame others, and you take on this victim kind of mentality, this is for you. Because this particular pillar forces you to take accountability for your own happiness. It forces you to take responsibility for your own destiny. It forces you to take responsibility for your own, you know, point of view, for your thought processing. Like, you have to begin to take accountability for your actions, for who you are. Take accountability for your place in this world. And I like this because she also talks about not placing expectations on other people, right? So it begins with first knowing who you are, knowing what you want, knowing what you're going to accept and what you're not going to accept. Understanding that you are the only person that can make you happy. But also these expectations that we tend to set on other people. No. And this is something that I had to really work on recently. And I realized, like, maybe like mid 2020, that I was placing expectations on people that were unrealistic. And then I ended up with my heart broken, or I ended up disappointed because I was expecting things from people, or I expected them to have the same intuition or the same instinct or the same, you know, thought processing as I did when it came to certain situations and scenarios. But what you have to understand is that we're all different. What I see is not what you see. So by you placing expectations onto other people, you're only hurting yourself. So it goes back to this point. I feel like this whole book is telling you to get fucking real. Just get fucking real. Get real with yourself.
Like, this whole book is telling you to get fucking real. Just get fucking real. Get real with yourself.
That's what I feel like this book is telling you. To get fucking real. Period. Stop placing expectations on people. For example, we have friends who, when we're effed up and we don't have nothing, money looking funny and things ain't looking right, we can't go to them. But trust and believe, if they're going through something, they won't feel bad for coming to ask you. And you know what you're going to do? You're going to give, and they're going to receive, and they're going to receive. And when it's time for you to get what you need, or you need something, or you need to borrow something, and that person ain't giving it to you, you're going to be upset. Because you place this expectation on them like, wow, I do this for you, but when it's my turn, I don't ever get it. I don't ever, get it back. Listen, you give somebody something, just take it as a loss. Just forget about it. I hear so many successful people say this. I recently heard Gary Vee say this. If somebody asks me for $20, it's a loss. It's a total loss. I'm not expecting it back. I'm not expecting anything in return. So I had to personally realize that and get real with myself, that even when it comes to precious things like love, That sometimes you genuinely just have to love people unconditionally and let them be. Let them be. You can't expect anything from anyone. Put no standard or stipulation or anything on anyone, because you will end up disappointed in the end, right? So the fourth pillar is appreciation versus expectation, okay? She talks about replacing the mindset of expectation with the mindset of appreciation. So instead of expecting, be appreciative that you're even in a position to give to those who ask. Whoa, right? Be appreciative that you're even in a position to give to those who ask. Instead of you having this mentality of, oh, I'm expecting this in return, or if I give you this, you got to give me this back. No. Replace that mindset with a mindset of appreciation. I am happy that I was able to give. I am happy that I was able to provide. I am happy that I was able to do for X, Y, and Z. Okay? So that's pillar number 4, appreciation versus expectation. Okay? And just to go back, the first pillar is be aware of who you are. The second pillar is be transformed. The third pillar is celebrate small successes. The fourth pillar is appreciation versus expectation. The fifth pillar is the WIN formula, the WIN formula. And I'm going to read a little bit from, hopefully you guys can see. I'm going to read a little bit from the first page. So it says, in order to have a strong foundation to build success, your focus has to be on the WIN formula. W stands for what's, I stands for important, N stands for now. So the WIN formula is what's important now. This is a fundamental pillar because often it is difficult for us to change course because of commitments we've made to ourselves and others. However, to really build upon success, you must measure the cost and determine what's important now, and then make the decision accordingly, right? This is not always easy as aspiring entrepreneurs. Once you get on the road, you're on a journey and often reluctant to change course. Because of the goals you set, it's sometimes difficult to push a project aside or abandon it altogether, right? She goes on to say the most important commitment you have is the one that can change your life now. You must ask yourself, what's important now? You have to do the math, and the answer to that question will help you win. The focus can never be on pleasing others in life. You cannot be led by your emotions, nor the emotions of others. Instead, keep your eyes on ultimate peace, ultimate happiness, ultimate abundance, knowing that only you have to live with all of your choices. And that is the WIN formula. What is important now? And a part of the reason, transparent moment, a part of the reason why it took me so long to read this book, I believe it originally was supposed to only take me about 2 or 3 days to read this book. It ended up taking me about 3 to 4 weeks to read this book. And in all honesty, this is the kind of book where you have to be ready to be transformed. You cannot read this book with a closed mind. You cannot read this book with a stubborn mind. You have to be open and willing to receive knowledge and wisdom. And as I began reading the book, there were certain parts of me that were very hard. very hard. And it was hard for me to read, to be honest, because there are some things that you sometimes don't want to hear. You don't want to hear the truth all the time. And you don't want it to be so blatant and so clear that there needs to be a change. You need to change some things, ma'am. And, you know, that's what I was telling myself. But I was kind of running from it. Like I said, this book was only supposed to take me about 3 days to read. It took me 3 to 4 weeks. Because I knew that there were things in this book that I needed, but I was not ready to receive it. Okay? So even in this particular pillar, the win formula, this is a chapter that really broke me down. I cried reading this chapter. I tell you no lie. I cried reading this because I was facing a dilemma at the time. And, you know, in the midst of making so many transitions in my life, this particular chapter was something that I didn't want to hear, but I needed it. And when I read it, it hit me to my core and I cried. And literally after reading this chapter, I didn't pick this book up till about 2 weeks later. Because you really have to be real with yourself. And being real with yourself is not easy. That shit is not easy, okay? It's not as easy as people make it seem. And like I said, I was facing a dilemma, and it was kind of like this was the answer to my question. And when it was there so vivid at such a perfect time, it kind of scared me. And it was like, it was right there in my face, and I didn't know how to accept that, you know? So the 5th pillar is the win formula. What's important now? You know, just like she speaks about taking that self-inventory daily and figuring out what you can do to better yourself on a daily basis. What are some of the things that you need to work on, that you need to improve on? The win formula is the same thing. It's about taking inventory of what is priority in your life. You know, what is important right now at this very moment, so that you can begin to, you know, co-create the life that you deserve. Begin to manifest the life that you deserve by simply getting in alignment with what you need to do now. What needs to happen now in order for you to, you know, have security and stability and all of the things that you want 3, 4, 5, 10 years, 6 years down the road. What needs to happen now? And that's what this book was for me. You know, this chapter was literally like a wake-up call, because it forces you to really focus on the hard shit that you don't want to focus on. And that's what is on your plate right now. What is in front of you right now that you need to either eat it up, dump it in the garbage, or what's going to happen with this mess on your plate. And that's not easy to deal with, you know. Some shit we got to eat. You know, some things we're able to clean off our plate. We might be able to delegate it over here. We might, be able to dump some of it in the garbage. But ultimately, there's some shit on our plate that needs to be taken care of. Okay, so the 6th pillar is be kind. And I love this pillar so much. I love this because I genuinely enjoy being a good person. I look back at my life and all the things that I have been through, and, the 6th pillar is to be kind. And I look at my life, I look at all the things I've been through, I look at how bitter I could be, I look at how angry I could be, I look at how depressed and how disturbed and dysfunctional I can be. And people say, you're a Scorpio. You're supposed to be mean. You're supposed to have a nasty attitude. You're supposed to be ready to fight. You're supposed to... No. When I look at everything I've been through, when I look at who I am today and the things that I've accomplished, when I thought that I would never be able to sit here and shine this bright and glow like this, and you think I'm going to be mean? You think I want to be a mean person after all I've gone through. Like, don't tell me because I'm a Scorpio I'm supposed to be. No. I want to be a kind person. I want to be the person that I needed when I was a little girl, when I was lost. And that right there makes me smile. And that right there makes me smile. And I want to continue to manifest that energy. You know, I want to continue to be a happy, kind person. And that's why I serve. You know, if you guys don't know, I am the creator and community leader of Boss Babe Kartel. Boss Babe Kartel is an online social learning community created for female entrepreneurs. So with this community, I created this space because I wanted, you know, underprivileged, impoverished, lower income, young minority women to have a place where they can go to get information on becoming their own boss. I mean, from the very basics all the way up to every single pillar, every single law that they would need to become their own boss. Because I remember 2.5 years ago, sitting on my couch, literally feeling so lost, suffering from PPD, not even knowing that I was suffering from postpartum depression. But there was something in the back of my mind that told me, like, you have to keep fighting, like there's more out there for you. You just have to figure out what it is. And about 6 months later, Boss Babe Kartel was created, and that opened up the gates for me to be able to serve and add value in the lives of so many other people. Not only that, but I've been able to grow myself. So people always come to me and they say, thank you, Ashley, for this community. Thank you for all the love and information that you share with us. But ultimately, this community has also made me and helped me become the woman I am today. So this is about 2.5 years in the making with Boss Babe Kartel. And, you know, it joys my heart that when people speak about me, they speak about me highly. A lot of these women don't know my background. They don't know where I come from. They don't know all the things that I've been through. But the fact that when they look at me now, they look at me as somebody who's an example, somebody who is kind, respectful, and has integrity, that shit gets me hyped, nigga. That shit makes me feel good. And I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world. So the 6th pillar is to be kind. And that's all I'm going to say about that. If you know, you know. If your mama raised you well, you know how to be kind. Period. Okay? I'm going to say one quote from that chapter, though. Kindness is a language that the blind can see and the deaf can hear. Okay. So the 7th pillar is FIGHT. It's an acronym. And this acronym stands for faith, intentional, gratitude, happiness, and true love. So I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit of the first chapter of the first page of this chapter. So it says, there is a secret I want to share with you. We're all human. Okay, that's not a secret, but it is a fact. We are human, and because of that, we have to fight through human emotions. Because in the world around us, it truly is about the law of attraction. But let's face it, sometimes we're just off emotionally. You may wake up and just feel like you don't have it together. That's the human side. But these pillars and laws for success teach you how to fight through your humanness. That is something we all have to do. Fight. We have to fight because being emotionally off pushes the good away. I've been a fighter my whole life because I don't know how to be any other way. I don't know how to quit. I don't know how to give up. Of course, I have human feelings too, but what I've learned how to do is decompartmentalize. If I don't feel good about a situation, a person, a thing, a place, an experience, it's like I have file cabinets in my mind. and I put each into its own place. That's part of how I fight. I do not allow people, places, things, situations, experiences to get in the way of my flow. I can't allow any of those things to mess with the law of attraction in my life. Because when you allow negativity in, that's what you will attract. And whatever you attract will bring consequences. Okay? So that right there in itself is a word. That right there in itself is a word. So the seventh pillar is an acronym. And that acronym is F for faith, I for intentional, G for gratitude, H for happiness, T for true love. Fight. Okay. And I love the part where she talks about decompartmentalizing your thoughts and your emotions, and maybe there's some things that aren't sitting well with you. Learning how to decompartmentalize so that doesn't take a hold of your life and the things that you want to accomplish. You know, we all have humanness, but at some point our discipline and our fight, that has to kick in and take over. You know, like you will hear a lot of successful people say, you know, what's your why? You know, and a lot of people say their children, but sometimes your children are not going to be enough. You know, there's a lot of days my son is not enough for me to get up and film a YouTube video, or get up and produce content, or get up and you know, handle my business. Sometimes your kids are not going to be enough, but there needs to be something that really kicks in. That fight has to kick in, you know. That mindset of, if there is nothing or no one that's going to knock me off my flow, period. So I really love how she spoke about that, decompartmentalizing certain areas and things and people and experiences in your life, because that is so important, so freaking important. She says, because when you allow negativity in, that's what you will attract, and whatever you attract has consequences, period. Alrighty, so that was the seventh pillar. Alright guys, so I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. If you want to find out the 9 laws of success, go ahead and tune in to part 2 of this video. It will be up shortly. Once again, thank you guys for watching this video. This is from the book, The 9 Laws of Success by Coach Stormy, aka Stormy Wellington. This is the book. In the first part, we spoke about the 7 pillars of success. And these 7 pillars laid the foundation for the 9 laws, which we'll discuss in the next video.